Welcome to Raised in Alaska. Today we're out looking for moose sheds or antlers that moose actually dropped last late fall or early winter. It's really a little bit early to be out looking for sheds because we still have a lot of snow on the ground. But the place that we're heading to is a south-facing slope. And the south-facing slopes typically are where animals are going to be held during the wintertime. And partially that's because they can lay out in the sun because south-facing slopes get sun all winter. But also those south-facing slopes are the first places where the snow will melt off of food and animals can get their food and whatnot. I was into this place last year, a little bit later than this, and there was a ton of moose sign in there. There was moose scat everywhere, moose tracks everywhere. When I say everywhere, what I mean is probably literally every 10 feet in each direction for a quarter of a mile, there was moose scat. I've never seen so much moose scat in one place in my entire life. Nearly every bush I looked behind, every trail I would go on, I'd think, oh, for sure there's going to be one here. And so I want to get there this year and check it out. Last year I didn't find any there, although about 2 miles away from there I did find a really nice moose shed. Well, really nice moose shed would be an overstatement. It had been gnawed down by the animals and all that was really left on it was the brow tines. I'll put that picture in right here. And so hopefully we'll find some today. You never know, and I try not to get my hopes up, so I'm going to say we probably won't find any, and I think that's a fair estimate. But for sure we're going to learn some stuff about this area. We're going to see some gorgeous country today, and hopefully we'll look over a lot of moose sign and maybe learn a little something about moose along the way. So come along for a fun adventure. Hopefully we find some antlers, but I never bank on that. So I'm following an old set of moose tracks up this ridge. On top of this ridge is where there was so much sign last year. And so we'll get up there and take a little look and see what things look like. More sign that there's been something in here. Okay, you can see right behind me there's a set of tracks. Old tracks going up the hill, which is fine. Right now there's about 6 inches of snow here. And so you'll be basically looking for tines sticking out of the snow. Everything's either brown or white. So the chances are slim, but hopefully I'll learn something when I'm in here. I'm always looking for new places to put game cameras. A little early to be scouting for that. You can see where they've been eating the bark off the tree. And over here as well. And up in there some. You can even see like the teeth marks across there. Pretty interesting. Pack here because I don't want to have to carry it all over the place up here. And this is kind of a open point, and so I should be able to find it again, which is kind of critical, right? I leave my snowshoes here. Just going to cruise up and down this ridge line, around in this brush. We'll look at this brush as we move around. You can see they've been eating in here, but I don't know how much sign there is right up on top of here. And so we'll take a look. Again, we're not going to find anything, but hopefully we learn something. So this is nearly comedy. That is where I left my backpack. There is a pile of moose poo. And there is a moose bed. You can see he wandered off this way. So don't get your hopes up though. So here's another moose bed. You can tell they've been in here for sure. So you can see they've been eating the ends off of this, and all this kind of stunted bonsai looking growth is from moose feeding on this year after year. And there's a couple square miles of this kind of stuff in here. Or moose poo. So again, you can see a lot of tracks around in here. They're old, and that's fine. Moose probably shed their horns back in December, so it's really a matter of finding out where they were eating in December, not necessarily last week. So lots of moose sign here. Bed there. Another bed through there. But again, this is going to be within the last 2 weeks, and that's not where they were when they should. More moose beds there. Here. Can't blame them. A nice sunny slope like this. Sit here and get a tan. Yeah. So this is kind of cool. A little closer. You can see something walked right across the top of the snow. So you can still see those tracks going through here. Those are moose tracks right there, and look at this, if you can see it. Right there. There's a hare. I'm gonna save that and take it back and see if I can look at it. Where did we go? There we go. I'm gonna save that to see if I can look at it through something with more power and see what it might be. See another moose bed right there. See where these have been broken off. Probably by moose pulling on them to get at the chutes at the end. The other thing that is kind of cool is here are those tracks again. I've decided that these are probably lynx tracks because they're kind of big. They're bigger than a fox track. I mean, basically you're going to have fox, lynx, or coyote or wolf out here. It's not a wolf. It's not a fox for sure. Kind of bright out here today. So it's probably just around freezing, just above, below, somewhere that, close to freezing. I started out this morning and the snow was pretty stiff still, so you could walk on it. And now it's warmed up enough that I'm starting to punch through. When I first got here, I was kind of lulled into the sense of thinking that it wasn't very deep, because you could walk on it easy and whatnot. But as it's warmed up, it's become kind of clear that we probably have at least 2 feet of snow here. And so if you were lucky and an antler fell just right, you know, its tines might be sticking up through the snow. If you were lucky. Of course, I am never going to be that lucky. And so, no antlers yet today. Through the course of this, I've probably used the word horns and the word antlers. I use them interchangeably because I'm not a biologist. But if I was a biologist, then antler would be the correct term because antlers shed annually and horns stay on an animal forever, like goats, sheep, cattle. So really looking for antlers. So if I've said horns in there and you're upset, please don't be so upset. I'm not a biologist, remember. What I've learned, you know, because every time you go out, you should pay attention and have to learn something. I think what I've learned is, number one, it's probably too early. Remember at the beginning of this, I said I wouldn't find any antlers, and thankfully, I'm correct. Actually, I'd rather be wrong on this one. But at any rate, it's probably too early unless a guy was super, super, super lucky, which I'm not. The other thing is that I wonder about, and I don't know the answer to this, this could be, I mean, everything is seasonal in terms of feed for animals, right? There's a certain season where lush green things, you know, animals are going to eat. During the wintertime, there's nothing lush and green, and so the moose will move into areas like this, and they snip off the ends of the mostly the alders in here. They'll also eat some of the bark here and there. Neither of those provide a lot of calories for anybody. But that's what they have, and that's how they're able to survive, because they can't dig down to the ground at anything on the ground, and there's nothing green anyway. So thankfully, that's what they eat during the wintertime. And so seasonally, the question really is, so what were they eating back in December-ish? Because that's when big moose shed their horns, at least here. If this isn't what they were eating, then they aren't even here during that time. I know that this is a late
feeding area because there's tracks and there's beds that are in here right now. So they most certainly been feeding in here lately. I didn't see anything that was smoking hot like in the last week, I would guess. But I suspect that they're close by. They probably haven't gone all that far. There's nothing new that they can eat anywhere that's going to draw them somewhere else. So they're probably not far away. I will probably come back here and give this one more look. And realistically, I think shed hunting season, at least for moose for me, coincides with looking for new game camera areas as well. There's going to be a quick time frame, only about 2-3 weeks, where the snow melts off and so all the grasses and things like that from last year are laid down flat. So you're going to be able to see where the trails were last fall. You're going to be able to see if there were any rut pits that were made, and also it's the easiest time to find sheds. Within 2-3 weeks after that, I mean, right now our daylight's already about 13 hours a day. So you fast forward ahead another 3 weeks and we're going to be looking at 14-15 hours of daylight a day. So things grow really, really fast. So you'll go from brown everywhere to green this tall in a matter of just a couple weeks. Well, once it's green this tall, the trails from last year have disappeared. The rut pits from last year are really hard to find unless you're standing right on top of one. And the sheds are hidden underneath the grass. I don't know if anything's in here in the fall and if you'll find rut pits and a lot of fall kind of activity in this area or not for sure. It's a late winter area, and maybe I should drop a camera up in here. Maybe I should do that. Next winter I should drop a camera up in here. That could be entertaining. But I'm sitting here minding my own business, looking at something here, and I'm dead serious when I say this is not staged. But it could be not. It is. Huh, that might be a nice little chair there. There. That's a moose femur there. It was hung up in a tree right there, kind of. It's obviously somebody or something put it there. It wasn't me. I was sitting here minding my own business. So I'll put it back there when I leave, because that could be a fun find at some time in the future. But at any rate, I've forgotten where I was at. Squirrel, right? So I'll come back in here and scope this out just to see if there's any fall looking activity to make it worth putting a game camera in here. Maybe next winter, this is where I was at. Next winter I ought to put a game camera up in here on one of these ridges just to see what's in here, really. So I'm gonna eat lunch and get out of here. I always appreciate you guys taking your time and watching my videos. From week to week, I never know what I'm doing, and I suspect you don't either. I would like to get out on my snow machine one more time. I don't know that that's going to happen. We got snow melting really fast. Pretty soon, though, it'll be mud season, and so we'll have the machines out, Argo, wheelers, things like that. And then shortly after that, then it turns into mosquito season, followed by fishing season. Mosquito season is not my favorite, and that kind of coincides then with fishing season as well. But we're going to fish. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the trail.